Welcome to the Realness Required podcast. My name is Waldie.
And I'm Erikka.
Today's topic, Erikka, what is it?
Oh, we're talking about authenticity.
Okay, authenticity. Okay, this is one of my favorite topics. When I think authenticity, I think no lies, no phoniness, realness comes to mind, truth comes to mind, sincerity, being genuine.
Yes. The being genuine, definitely. Honesty, being truthful, being true to yourself. That is what comes to mind when I think about being authentic.
Authenticity is the result of following your intuition, because intuition comes in to support you on your path. Mm-hmm. Intuition is a read on energy. As you follow that intuition, aligning you more with harmony, that increases your authenticity. I've used the analogy before. If you follow the GPS, that your intuition is kind of like a GPS. As you follow that, the more authentic you will be operating in your life. Because harmony results in authenticity.
Correct. And authenticity is living your truth. And we talked about the quicker you act on your intuition is the quicker you're going to get to the truth. So that automatically leads into being authentic, because you'd rather live in being truthful than live in a lie.
Right.
Because when you don't follow your intuition, that's basically what you're doing. You're actually telling yourself a lie, because you're like, no, that can't be it. And then you're living in a lie.
That's right.
So yes. So we definitely got to make sure that we're being authentic.
A person may come to mind when you think authenticity. Oftentimes they have like a glow about them. Oftentimes it's just that it's like they're living in their purpose, or living with such inspiration, or they're living in a way that is so full, like their cup is so full, you cannot help but feel and see it. Like when somebody's really operating from an energetic place of authenticity.
And I feel like that's the way they operate and how they communicate as well. If you've only known them to be truthful, let's say it's just someone you know. It may not be your closest friend, but let's just say it's someone you know, and you've been around this person many times. But every time you're around this person, they have been truthful and honest with you, no matter how much it hurts. That is someone that's being authentic.
I mean, and I'll take this opportunity to say that I feel like I'm the most authentic person I know. And I mean, I have a bias because
you do.
I'm the only one that knows me as well as I know me. Yeah. Though how authenticity shows up for each person is different. I feel oftentimes it's telling my truth. That's how it's shown up in my life. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. In 2015, that's when I found out that I'm HIV positive. The day that I found out, I went to go get tested. I go get tested. It comes back positive. I've already been with a person many years prior who experienced becoming HIV positive or discovering that they were HIV positive as I was with them. So I already felt primed in a way that it wasn't necessarily a shock to me. I knew how to handle it emotionally, more so than I would have if it was my first time dealing with that sort of experience. But the authenticity piece comes in because when I got home, I personally felt compelled to put it out on my social media, to make a statement on my social media for all of the people, friends, followers. Yeah. At that time, it was more Facebook than it was Instagram. I did a post on Facebook stating, today I found out that I'm HIV positive. This is not for sympathy. This is just to state that I'm no different than I was yesterday. I'm still Waldie, et cetera, et cetera. Why was it so important that I do that? For me, it felt like, as someone who at the time was on YouTube and talked about my life and promoted life lessons and authenticity, I would be a hypocrite if I did not share that with the people that look to me for guidance. I wouldn't be practicing what I preach. If I preach authenticity, here's my moment. Do I really mean what I say? And it felt like I didn't even have to think about it. It felt essential that I say something to everyone because I needed to be free from the prison that people would put me in. It would be other people that would put me in this box, judging me because I'm HIV positive. I'm the only one with the key to release me from that cage. And by telling everyone, it felt like no one has the power to cage me.
Yeah. So it felt freeing.
100%.
To do it that way.
And that's why it felt the most authentic to me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like authenticity does feel like freedom.
It does. I would have dealt with the situation different and still felt like I was being authentic. I would not have necessarily went to social media because I don't go to social media for anything. Sure. But I felt like if someone were to ask me, I would tell the truth. Like I wouldn't lie and say, oh no, I don't have HIV. Like I wouldn't lie about it. But I am not the type of person that willingly just shares information or share things about my life. If you ask me, I'll tell the truth. But I don't necessarily come forth with sharing that just to do it.
Yeah.
So we would just go about it two different ways. That's all.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's why what I mean by like authenticity looks different for everyone. That was me saying, I will not be defined by this. So I'm telling you all right now because it's just an experience that people have. If I felt any shame about it, I would have kept it inside. And for me, I cannot live with any shame. So if there's any trigger that like triggers shame, it's no, I need to confront that now.
Yeah.
And that's worked for me. And that's why I'm as authentic in the way that I am and very upfront and very outward expressing how I feel, my emotions, where I am with things, because holding it back feels like prison or feels like, do I have shame about saying that? So that's why I challenge that. And that's why I'm very outspoken.
And I guess you could look at it that way, that a person may have shame and that's why they're not saying anything. However, I feel like if you have shame, you would lie about it. And if you're not lying about it, if you were asked about it, or let's say I was on the topic with someone else, I may be vulnerable and share my story and it may inspire somebody. You just went about it a different way. Yeah. You decided to share your story to the masses, and you don't know how many people you probably helped in that moment, as well as your followers, since you said you already had a following on YouTube. Other things came from that, from you sharing your story. So actually you were meant to do, that was what you were meant to do. You had people reached out to you to let you know how you helped them. You were on the cover of a magazine because you told your story. Regardless, it was inspiring. I just think we would have, when we go about that in a different way, so, as far as how we live authentically, or what moves us.
For me, authenticity oftentimes looks like me saying what I need to say, because holding it in feels like I'm imprisoning myself. And saying it aloud feels like freedom for me. That's how I know. That's my way of detecting what is inauthentic and what is authentic. Inauthentic is holding it inside. That's how it feels to me.
To you, yeah.
Authenticity is expressing it outwardly. So because authenticity is different for different people, I'm curious, what does authenticity feel like for you? What's a good example of like, that's a moment where I felt like I had to express my authentic self in one way or another?
Well, normally I tell my story when I feel like someone may be going through something similar, or if I'm compelled to. Sometimes I may just be having a conversation with somebody and I feel that I need to share something, and then I'll share it. But if someone is struggling with their partner in their marriage, I've been married, I have examples, so I will then share that. That's not to say that as experiences happened in my marriage, I went to social media and talked about it. Do you get what I'm saying? So I just wait until that moment that story needs to be told, and then I tell it. So it's I'm not hiding it. I'm not ashamed that it happened, because if it happened for a reason. It happened for me to grow. It happened for me to learn from it. So I then share it with that person to let them know you too will be okay. I'm proof. I'm in front of you. I'm okay with what happened with me. So you will too. Mm-hmm. You will get past this. So that is when I go into sharing my story with somebody, or sharing something that I wouldn't necessarily share to the masses, but I share with a small group, or I share with an individual person, and I don't feel any shame about it.
And the only reason mine was more like mass sharing to the masses, because I was already a public figure.
Correct. Yeah.
So I felt if I'm already a public figure and I'm talking about my life as a way to, as an outlet, and also to try to help other people, like young people that might be experiencing similar things, like I said, life lessons, it felt like, oh, this happened. I have to share this with the people that follow me, because that would be the authentic route. And that's what I'm telling them to strive for, is authenticity.
But you also act usually off of you feel compelled to act on something.
I do.
I usually think through before I act. Not saying that I will not act. It's just going to be in a very different way. I'm going to just kind of take a moment, process, that kind of thing before I act on something, versus, oh, I feel compelled to act, let me do it immediately. You're more in the moment. Like as soon as you feel compelled to act on something, you're going to do it.
Yeah, as soon as that awareness, as soon as the awareness is there, like the light bulb goes off, not doing it feels like it's like being suffocated. Once I know the truth, not acting on the truth feels like suffocation to me. Feels like a slow death.
Oh, geez.
To me.
Yeah.
Which is a good segue into how does truth fit in to authenticity? You mentioned when you're telling lies, you're not being authentic. When you are not following your intuition, that's kind of like is that a lie?
It is, but you're living a lie because you're not getting to the truth. Yeah, you're living a lie because you're not getting to the truth, because you're ignoring your intuition. Now, if you're following it and you're following it quickly, you're getting to the truth quicker. If you follow it later, I mean, the truth is eventually going to come out. It's just going to be a slower process, and you will have went through things that you probably didn't have to go through if you would have just listened to it the first time. So being authentic is living in truth, is being truthful and living in truth. And I don't know if a lot of people say I'm living my truth. That is a little loose sometimes.
Yeah, it seems a bit subjective.
Correct, because your truth just still may not actually be the truth.
Because people, I can recall being like a young person and having friends that would be, well, I'm just a bitch, so you just have to take me as I am. When I'm like,
child,
saying that you're like a bitch that is the form of like, I'm living my truth.
Yeah.
But that isn't really living in truth.
Correct, because that's not really who you are. You're trying to mask something in being that way.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're trying to mask, or what is it that you're covering up that you don't want people to see?
Which is very interesting, because lies are people that are not living in truth, people that are not authentic, people who are living a lie or lying, oftentimes are the ones that are the most that have to do the most convincing.
Oh, yeah.
So they might be this is how I am, and da-da-da-da-da. And like, the ones doing the most theatrics or have the most to say are usually the ones trying to convince you of their lie. They might be trying to convince themselves at the same time and convince you. So which brings the point that I think truth speaks
for itself.
Speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't have to be loud about it. You don't have to be boastful about it. You don't have to say much about it. You just be the way that you are, and people can tell that, oh, Waldie don't play. Oh, Waldie's going to tell you the truth. Oh, Waldie's going to tell you how it is. You know, he's not going to play around with you. They can tell that right away, just in you being yourself, because you're not doing too much. You don't have to announce that you're in the room. People know you're in the room. Mm-hmm. You don't have to announce it. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of boils down to that when you're being authentic.
What would prevent someone from wanting to step into more authenticity?
Because they would have to take the mask off. And some people aren't ready to do that. Or have you seen those people that come across a bit fake? They feel like they have to put on an act. And so if you're being authentic, you have to then stop doing that. And they may think, oh, well, people may not like me as much if I stop doing that. Or I may not be able to have the same friends if I do that. But wouldn't you rather have the people that accept you for who you are than the person you're pretending to be? I've told you this before. I said, it physically makes me sick to be fake. I would not be able to go around in a room and just act like I'm connecting with this person, smile in this person's face, this person, and just act like we're all cool. I'm an introverted person. I'm not extroverted at all. I kind of like to feel things out. I kind of like to know what the energy is like with people before I approach. You can approach me, but before I approach, I want to do that first. I don't want to be fake and act like I want to entertain you when I actually want to get out of here. Mm-hmm. I actually would rather be home. So I'm just not that type of person. So I may come off as standoffish, or I may come off as, but it's really not that. It's just that I don't want to give you a fake version of me.
And that's why authenticity looks different for all of us. Correct. Because that is not authentic to me necessarily. Where if I'm in that same room, it's more authentic to me to walk up to people and introduce myself and say, hi, like, how are you? Ask them about them.
Like, that's what you like to do.
Correct.
You're curious in that way.
I am.
You want to know about people. You want to engage. You want to, oh, what is it about this person? But you got to ask before you know. Me, I'm not that way. I don't care to know about you, actually.
So it's interesting what you said, which it isn't the first time we've discussed this, but when you said, wouldn't you rather be appreciated or cared about for who you actually are mm-hmm. versus who you're trying to be or who you're pretending to be?
Yeah.
Which you saying that made me think being authentic leads to connection. Being inauthentic, you cannot have connection.
Yeah.
Because connection is of the heart. Mm-hmm. And if you are wearing the mask and projecting the mask, you are not connecting at the heart.
You don't have real connection. You're connecting.
Oh, yeah. Like,
but it's not real connection.
No, because you're connecting based on whatever external outcome you want.
Correct.
Like maybe you want to be friends with this person because, they are friends with all these rich people, and these rich people have access to these yachts and whatever the hell, I don't know. So you're thinking like, oh, I want access to that. Yeah. So really like your reason for being friends with this person is for that external gain and not because you actually want to connect with a person. Because if you wanted to connect with a person, you have to be authentic. You have to be authentic to connect on an energetic level.
And see, those who get along best with me or who I tend to be friends with are people like you that want to go up to people and be curious about who they are. Those are the people that come up to me. And once you get to know me, I am a good person. I am, I give it to you like it is. People generally like me a lot once they get to know me. But am I going to go into a room and go up to several people and introduce myself and act like I want to get to know you? I'm not going to do that.
That's not authentic.
Because that just would seem very fake to me. Because out of the 20 people I introduce myself to, I'm probably only going to get a good feeling about one, if that. So I've wasted my time and your time, me even making you think this is going to go anywhere, this is going to be a friendship. Rather than do that, I stay to myself. And if I'm led to speak to someone or walk up to someone, I have been in the past, then I will do that. But again, that is a feeling, that is an energy that I'm picking up on. And I move off of that, not just because it's a room full of people and I want to connect with every one of them. That's just not going to happen with me.
And I mean, that's the reason why we all are different, and we all have different gifts, and we all have different personality types. We're not all meant to be extroverted types that go up to everyone. Like, that would look weird in like an environment where you're having a party. Like everybody's like, hey.
Yeah.
Where of course there's going to be people who are more receptive, which brings me to another point of difference between us. Oftentimes I feel what is authentic to me is when like I'm inspired to act on, just to act, period. To say what I need to say, to do what I need to do. Maybe it means telling somebody how I feel. Maybe it means whatever. But it's very authentic to me to make the move.
Yes.
Right? Whereas for you, you feel it's more authentic to you to wait and see. Is that accurate?
Correct. I like to wait. I do not want to act on what I feel because again, I have to think it through. Not saying that I'm not going to act. It's just not going to be an immediate thing.
That's when intuition is not going on. That's
No.
Thinking something through, like what you plan to do. But
correct.
When it's intuition, that's a different.
That
story,
is a different thing. This is just what I'm choosing to share, or what I'm choosing to, if I'm feeling something, what I'm choosing to share in that moment with who I'm choosing to share it with. I have to think things through. And so how I thought about sharing it initially, it may change. I'm still sharing the same message, but it may change in the way that I wish to share it. But someone that's doing it immediately, they're going to go with the first thing. And that is fine. However, for me, I just like to think things through. That's the difference.
Yeah.
I'm still acting. It's just the difference. It's just the difference in how I.
Right. So being authentic doesn't look one way.
No.
Just like your intuition comes in to keep you on your path and on track and in harmony, and your authenticity is going to look different than mine. Just like what your intuition says is going to be different than what my intuition says.
Correct.
Like, I mean,
because our paths are different.
Yeah. Our paths are different. And I know that for me, when I have acted from a place of I have to be authentic, if that for me has been more important that I be authentic than end a friendship or maybe a person doesn't like what I have to say, but it's more valuable for me to be Waldie, who I am, authentic to myself, knowing that anyone who is for me is supposed to be energetically in my orbit or within proximity to me will find me so long as I am emitting my frequency, my energy. If that's not for you, I'm good with that.
Oh yeah. Then I'm not for you.
Yeah.
I'm not for everybody.
No.
I know I'm not for everybody. The way that I come across to people sometimes just may be a little too honest. Some people don't like honesty, especially when it's in relation to them. So I may be a little too honest. I may be a little too truthful. I may be a little too bold. I may say things, in a harsh way. Then I'm not the person for you. I only want people in my orbit that can handle a person like me, that can handle a person telling you the truth, that can handle a person telling you when you're wrong. Because I want you to tell me when I'm wrong. I want you to do that. I want you to call me out. And I feel like that's what real friends are supposed to do.
Which brings up that saying, real recognizes real.
Oh, yeah.
Which is funny because I think there's something to add to that. I think fake recognizes real. And I think fake runs in the other direction because they intuitively can pick up on the realness. And they know they will be unmasked if they get into too close proximity to that real person. So when real recognizes real, so like, oh, that's an energetic match. But fake recognizes real too. And real recognizes fake as well.
Oh, absolutely. I recognize fake in a minute. And no, I do not want to be around you.
Because a fake person will run in the other direction from a real person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've experienced that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not a read. That's not a dragging anybody. That's just how the energy works.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about when you and this person are not in harmony.
Yeah.
There's a separation that occurs. A friendship might be dismantled. A relationship might end. And I'm living so in my truth, with the truth, in my authenticity. That's too much for people who are phony to handle.
Yeah. And by no means are we telling people to be perfect. We know that everyone is not perfect. We know that everyone is going to go through things and everyone is going to have challenges. But what we're saying is you have to be consciously telling the truth and trying to be your most authentic self. And as you continue to do that, you will always tell the truth. You got to start somewhere. So let's say you always lie. Okay, let's start by telling the truth as much as you can. And then, okay, let's build that up to now I'm going to tell the truth all the time. Because once you tell the truth and nothing happens, okay, you still got the same people around you. People still love you. They didn't run away. Okay, now you're comfortable with telling more truth. And then you just get comfortable with that. And then that's just the way you should live. Telling the truth all the time. Regardless of who it will make upset, regardless of who may leave your life because of it, that's not what we're caring about.
And it's not like we're not saying be hurtful. You can tell the truth and not be hurtful.
Correct.
Like, we're not saying cause pain in the process.
Oh,
we're saying you can tell the truth without harm.
Yeah.
Now, people are going to have their feelings about it, but that's a them thing. As long as your intention is to just share your truth or act from a place of truth without causing any harm, there's no problem with that.
A negative way that Waldie could have shared this with me is he could have said, this is something that he said I needed to work on, but he could have just said to me, friend, you're heartless. That comes across as a little mean. Sure. Instead, he said, friend, I think you need to work on your heart chakra. That's better.
Yeah.
That is a better way. I received that. If you would have said heartless, I wouldn't have cared. It wouldn't have bothered me either. But to someone that's a little more sensitive, that may have bothered someone. But to just say, friend, I think you need to work on your heart chakra. That meant something to me. So I'm like, I probably do. And I received it.
Yeah.
With no problem.
I think people, I was thinking, why aren't people authentic? What is preventing people from being authentic?
Yeah.
And if people don't tell the truth, whether it's by omission or it's outright, you're lying, living a lie, or you're lying outright. Yeah. And I think what causes that? Why is that? And the thing that came to mind, what came to mind was, I don't think people know that they are inherently worthy and valuable. And because they don't trust that that is inherent because they exist. That lack of trust, because they don't believe it, they have a harder time being authentic. Because they think, if I take these actions, if I say this, if I tell the truth on this, I'll be rejected, or it won't pan out for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that ultimately speaks to somewhere something has happened where it made you think that you're unworthy of love, or that you have no worth, or you're not deserving of love. And that everyone is. Everyone is. That is innate, that is inherent, that's just how it is. So that thought is an illusion. And whoever put that there they were lying to you. That they made you believe a lie. And that lie is causing you to take actions that are keeping you like off the path. And trust me, authenticity is the path. If your intuition is coming in and it's telling you something and, oh, this is my truth, this is how I feel, you're better off saying it and seeing what happens than not saying it months, years down the road.
Correct. Let's speak it. See what happens. You'll see nobody died. Nobody, they may have got the feelings hurt, or the relationship may have ended, but that's what was meant to happen anyway, if it happened.
Right? You'll find evidence that it was for the best.
Oh, yeah.
I've not experienced anything else.
Correct.
By following my truth.
Correct. And same here. And I practice that. I've always told my daughter that, even when she was small. I said, if you just tell me the truth, you won't get in trouble. And I stood by that, though. A lot of parents will say that, and then kids still end up getting in trouble. But I stood by that. I made sure that if she told me the truth, now she may have got punished, but it wasn't like, I didn't get mad at her. Let's put it that way. I didn't get mad. I said, thank you so much for telling the truth. You know that wasn't a good thing to do. We're going to do better next time, or something like that. But now she tells me the truth because she knows my mom's going to still love me. My mom's not going to get mad at me. My mom's not going to hurt me. She knows I'm just going to be the same person to her. So she'll say, Mom, I always tell the truth. I know, because I raised you to do that, and continue to do that throughout your life. Because it's going to be for the betterment of your life if you do that. You want to be your most authentic self.
And it's not going to, and to touch on that and what you said earlier about the perfection. Yeah. We're not saying people should be perfect. Actually, like, the idea of perfectionism that's living a lie. Because none of us none of us are.
None of us
perfect.
are perfect.
So if you are already operating from a place of, I need to do things a certain way like this, that's conditioning you took on from, I don't know if it was society, from your family, from whatever. But you should not be living based on the ideas of what other people think you should be doing.
Oh, yeah.
So oftentimes being authentic doesn't fit into that box of, oh, this is what people do.
Oh, correct.
This is what is acceptable and okay.
Oh, yeah. Correct. You got to live your truth. If that's not following the path of what your family did all these years, then you have your own path. But you're being authentic and being true to yourself. So I may not want to live like that. I may not want to be brought up in the belief that I was raised in. I want to do something else. So, okay, do that. But be truthful about it.
I mean, because I know the way that I've expressed feelings of like in the category of love and romance to people have definitely been not what anyone would have expected in the way in which I did it.
Oh, no.
So, like,
it's not the norm.
I express my truth about how I feel.
Yeah.
But it's not often in the way in which people would find socially acceptable. But I don't care to be socially acceptable. I just care to express my truth. That might come out really messy, kind of cringe. Yeah. But I care more about the authenticity piece than I care about how perfect I was and how I did it.
Correct.
I don't care about that.
But if you were inauthentic, you would have lied about how you did it. You would have did it the way you wanted to do it, but you would have lied about how you did it because you would have wanted it to come across to other people as something else. And that would have been a lie.
And I may have, if I cared more about the way, how perfect I needed to say it.
Correct.
It would have been less authentic. Ultimately, it's like you are sacrificing authenticity if you're seeking perfection.
Yeah.
They're at odds with each other.
And you got to go about things that feel best for you, that feel right for you. That's really the bottom line. And you don't care about what other people think about it. Because that's literally going to make you be inauthentic if you're caring about what other people think.
And that's going to feel like betrayal to yourself.
Yeah.
Like it's going to feel like poison in your spirit to know that. Because intuitively, you know it's happening. You know you're making that choice that is inauthentic. Whereas if you just took the risk or the step and saw, let's just try it. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think you would be more pleasantly surprised to see that things kind of happened in a way that it felt supportive than it did feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to do that again. Like that, I doubt that will happen if you take that step and go outside your comfort zone in order to be more authentic.
It's not going to come back like you think it was. We have all of these things in our mind, like, if I do this, oh my goodness, people are going to think I'm crazy, or oh my goodness, people are this, or oh, my family would not like this at all. I'm going to embarrass my mom or my dad or whatever. And then if we just do it, actually, that's not even true. Actually, your mom or your dad was more supportive than you thought with the situation. So again, we're telling ourselves all these lies and all of this stuff when if we just be authentic and we live our lives without caring what anyone else thinks, then you'll be surprised what people actually think once it happens.
And you'll find okay, so let's say the parent isn't supportive. That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's their problem, their inability to be authentic that they're projecting onto you.
Yeah.
And at least as you start to be more authentic, again, as we talk about energy, if you're operating in an authentic energy, you're going to attract people who are operating at an authentic energy. Those are people because of your ability to trust yourself and trust that you are worthy of love and that you do have worth. And so you have the courage then to be authentic. You're going to attract people who are also authentic. Those are also people that you will likely be able to trust. Anyone, and you won't be able to tolerate the inauthenticity. You won't be able to tolerate the people that are living a lie. Not because they're bad people, but because you cannot, if they're lying to themselves, they're going to lie to you. You can't trust that.
Oh, no.
Whether they mean it maliciously or it's just a result of where they are.
Correct. And I don't want to be friends with someone that's going to lie to me. Because I'm not going to lie to you. Whether it hurts your feelings or not. Or whether, I'm going to tell you the truth. And that's what I would want from a friend. I want them to tell me the truth. I do not want them to lie to me. I don't want a partner to lie to me.
No.
I don't want anyone that's close to me to lie to me. So I definitely would not be able to be with someone that I know to be a liar. I wouldn't be able to be around that person.
Right.
Not closely.
Because if you're lying to me, you're trying to convince me of this mask that you're wearing. And now I realize it's a mask. Once I realize you're lying to me, now I know it's a mask. So already I'm like on high alert.
Oh,
frankly.
Absolutely.
So peace out. We no longer need to be in each other's orbit, girl. Like, we are not on the same page. Like, I need to get out of Dodge.
You are no longer for me. We can draft the nice text to say, we no longer align.
Right, we are taking separate paths.
Correct.
Yes.
We are no longer congruent.
Yes.
Whatever the word may be.
Thank you for your time.
Yes. But we would have to part ways at this time.
So thank you guys for watching this episode, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.